thank you both for joining me today on Zoom for ahead of the opening of Nature Collated by Anne Martin Walsh. Hi Anne. Hi Anya, thank you for joining me. And we're very lucky to have curator Anya von Gosselin to open the exhibition. So I'm going to hand it straight over to Anya now, who'd like to say a few words.
Well, as we all know, dear friends who are now watching us, we hope, and I hope many of you will, we are living in a time of sinking land and rising sea. I mean, literally. And I remember very well, and you may not, because you're too young, remember the time when Al Gore was vice president and he had a big thing going on with global warming. He was the first one who actually talked about it openly on television everywhere. People laughed at him. It basically destroyed his political career, but he was not heard when we should have heard to him. You know, I recently saw an interview with him, and he is actually retired on a farm somewhere in the Midwest, and he told the reporter, "I told you this would happen." Well, what has happened are the things, the prophetic views of a man like Orwell. We are living in a very Orwellian society at the moment, and hopefully we will also return to one that is more humane. You know, we live in a time when people can travel to Mars and consider what they're going to do up there, but they haven't been able to find out what to do here. So when I first heard of Anne, I didn't know Anne, I didn't know her work. When I met her, I immediately took to her. I took to her work because she picked up the things that other people did not touch or did not want to, or it didn't interest them, or it was not, you know, the news of the day and they didn't want to be bothered. But she has, and being a woman, I think has also a specific meaning, because I don't think a man could make the work she does. I mean, if that sounds now really terrible, so be it. I'm ready to stand up for myself, whatever I say. Her work is very beautiful. I find that the way she paints, the subtleness of the painting, the subtleness and muted colors she uses. Even if she paints a wood burning and the red is muted, it's beautiful. It is something that you want to have. And, you know, the kind of things she finds interesting to work with. For instance, my most wonderful photograph I have of her, of the shipwreck. There's very little left of the shipwreck, but I think she found it, or she discovered it when she was down in Ardmore, and it's a kind of image that appears and disappears, which is something that fascinates me as well. It appears and disappears with the tide. Well, so now we have a time where artificial intelligence is the #1 thing that scientists and technology people are working on. Well, that's all wonderful, and that will help us a lot in future, but they have forgotten one thing that is very important to Anne, and that is the soul. A computer can never have a soul, no matter how hard they try. And that is what her work, to me, is about, the soul of everything. A tree, a dog, a cat, us, of course. Lately, I learned that the soul needs the body, and the body needs the soul. And they are, you know, the soul basically is using the body as something to just show what you can do with your body, and so on and so forth. I'm not a philosopher, so I can't describe it 100% what I'm thinking there. But in Jewish philosophy, they have very interesting writings about that, which I would like Anne to also read at one point. I think it will be very interesting for her own work. Another thing I like about her work very much is that she is trying all media. She's not confining herself to just the one thing. Her photography is very beautiful, for instance, and it could stand on its own as a photography exhibition, but I just feel that she is an artist who has to be taken very seriously, and I'm hoping that those who see her show now online and maybe later on again in real life, because there's going to be a show once COVID is gone that will have some of her work as well, will realize that what value her work has. For instance, the way she comes to new images by walking through the woods, just walking through there, just smelling, just listening to the trees. And when people laugh about that, well, I hear the trees talking myself, and I hear and the bushes, you know, waving at me, and I smell the sea, and we all do, but we have forgotten about that in the kind of society that we have lived in without thinking about those kind of things. So when you look at the work online now, and hopefully some of you decide to buy some of it, because that would be wonderful, think about that next time you walk around there in nature. Look at all the things that she has found by just looking, by not just traipsing through the landscape and hiking, but just looking at individual items that are alongside the way that maybe nobody else has looked at. And in her hands and her eyes, they become wonderful art. So I'm very impressed with her work, and I hope that her future as an artist will be a really good one. She is one of the best artists I find working in County Wexford, and I hope that her career will also move into other countries, and that is where I come in. I think that possibly the time has come to show her work in Germany. So I wish you all a lovely look, and I hope that when COVID is over, you will one day meet Anne in person and be able to talk about her work in detail, which we can't do here because we have very little time. But give it a thought. What is out there that was always there, but we didn't look at it the right way, and we didn't know that it could be so beautiful. You know, even things that originally have no particular beauty become beautiful because UI makes it so. For instance, an exhibition we had in Camera 8, we had glasses of seashells. And when they were displayed the way she did that, they became something else altogether that I never forget. And so I wish you a good look, and I wish Anne, hopefully, some sales.
I'll hand you over to Anne now if you'd like to say a few words, Anne.
Yes, I'd love to. First of all, I'd like to thank Anya for her lovely words. It was very high praise, and I'm glad she's. I'm glad I met her, and that because she's been a marvelous influence in my life. So that's really good. And I'd like to thank you, Lisa and Lara, and for the opportunity. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, can't be actually in the building. And otherwise, I just want to thank. I'd like to thank the Artlinks, Wexford County Council Arts Department for the Artlinks bursary that I was in January 2020. To make it helped me in buying a lot of materials towards of this work, so that was really important. So and I hope people like the work, and I hope people enjoy browsing through online in their own time. Have a glass of wine, enjoy.
Well, your work is it's very fine work, right? It is very, how should I say, it's not in your face. You don't have anything there that is done with a 90-degree angle. And it is very, it's not that. It is very, and it's also very woman's work. I love that, right? And it's beautiful. It's very elegant. So, yeah, so more people need to see that now.
And I think that is the joy of moving online. People can enjoy it in their own time with a glass of wine at home, or a glass of whatever, a cup of tea, in their jammies if they like. And I think that's the joy of it. And well done. Thank you to Larry for his wonderful work, his expertise on online, and putting the exhibition online. And his skills there are really valuable. So thank you, Larry, and thank you, Anne. Thank you again, Anya, for your beautiful opening speech. As I said, I think you represented Anne's work really well. So I hope everyone will take a moment to consider what you said and ponder as we walk. So thank you both.
And thank